name is Michael Shanahan, and I am going to present my research thing, and it's about facts about orphans and orphanages during the Great Depression. About orphanages in the U.S. An orphanage is a house where children without parents are cared for and housed. An orphanage is an institution that takes care of orphans. An orphanage will care for tiny babies and also older children without parents. Orphanages are for children until they can be placed in homes and adopted. The first orphanage was in North America. The first orphanage in North America was opened by Roman Catholic nuns in 1729. After Indians massacred all of the adult settlers in Natchez, Mississippi, by the 1830s, the United States had 23 orphanages. By the 1950s, more children lived in foster homes than orphanages in the United States, and by the 1960s, foster care had become a government-funded program. Since then, U.S. orphanages have gone extinct entirely. How many orphans were there in the Great Depression? The Children's Bureau estimated that there were approximately 300,000 orphaned, abandoned, or physically and or mentally handicapped children living in the United States who were dependent on the state for their support. What are orphanages? Orphans and orphanages during the Great Depression. The Great Depression had many effects on children. The low unemployment rate made it so that families couldn't support their children. Their parents didn't have enough money to provide their children. Whoops. The end.
Questions from the audience?
Bobby?
What's the newest orphanage?
I studied that. I just studied that. What I said. Most of it. Randy?
When the orphans, mentally and physically handicapped, were out on the streets, what would they do to live?
Pretty sure they would go to an orphanage, the closest, because, well, most of it, all I did was just research that. None of the extra stuff that's added into it. Tanner.
What is it? Solving your fun? What does it mean when it's information from Google?
Oh, I got it from Google and then put it in my own words. Sort of, ish. Yeah. Anyone else? Gary?
Do you know how many orphanages there were at the time, or how many orphans were kicked out of an orphanage?
I don't believe there were any kicked out. I mean, I'm pretty sure there were a couple probably, but I do believe there were somewhere around 50 in total at the beginning. Somewhere's around there. Which one? Mr. Trumbull.
Did you explain what life was like for kids living in orphanages during the Depression? If I ended up in an orphanage, what would my life have been like? What do you think?
Read Bud Not Buddy again, you'll find out.
All right, one more question.
Bo.
If these Roman Catholic nuns ran all these orphanages and parents couldn't even care for their own children, how did these nuns care for all these kids? Which would have probably been very expensive.
That is an answer. No, that's a question that I might not be able to answer, but I have no idea.
Okay. Okay, give Michael a round of applause.
My name is Gary DuPont. My project was on the Dust Bowl. The Dust Bowl was on April 14, 1945. A Dust Bowl is caused by a series of severe droughts. They will start as a decent day. This is how you can tell if a Dust Bowl is on the way. You will start to feel hotter temperatures. The birds will leave the area. If the dust touches your skin, it hurts bad. Then there will be a huge black cloud in the sky. The Dust Bowl causes a bad disease. This disease is a lung disease called dust pneumonia. Also, this disease is very deadly. Now, would you like to know some facts on the Dust Bowl? The Dust Bowl will last a decade long. It is one of the worst natural disasters in American history. The Dust Bowl was caused by droughts in 1930. The Dust Bowl began in 1932. During the Dust Bowl, farmers were forced to migrate to California. The farming areas were turned to dust. There were 4 droughts that contributed to the Dust Bowl. The Dust Bowl occurred in North and South Dakota, Nebraska, Colorado, Kansas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, and Texas. The core of the Dust Bowl was in Kansas, Oklahoma, Colorado, Nebraska, and New Mexico. The Dust Bowl was also created by a strong turbulent wind. There were 362 dust storms in the Dust Bowl. Those are some facts on the Dust Bowl.
Questions?
Keegan.
With the pneumonia that you had during that time, did it kill anyone? If so, how many?
I'm sure it killed people, but I didn't get as far as to research how many. I just wanted to get mostly facts on different things. And if there was enough time, I was going to go back and add on. Glenn.
When you said that when the dust touches you, it hurt. Did it hurt because how high powered the wind was?
Yeah, my guess would be yes, and probably because dust is kind of like little grains. So there was turbulent wind, and it's like little grains just hitting your skin. Brandy.
When you get the ammonia from the Dust Bowl or wherever it was, does the ammonia spread from body to body?
I didn't get that far. Anthony.
How fast were the winds? How high did the
I don't know.
wind actually get?
That I didn't get to either.
One last question.
Why did they last so long? Do you know why they last so long?
I don't know why. I just know that they lasted a decade.
All right, give Gary a final round of applause.
Hello, my name is Jaden. My name is Christopher. We are here to tell you about in our PowerPoint about how the Great Depression started and ended, and the way through it. How it started. When it all started. There was over 7 to 12 million people that died fighting over who was going to get in the bank to get their money so they didn't lose it all. Over 15 million people lost their jobs because of the stock market crash in 1929.
Tell us about that chart. What's that chart showing us?
This chart is showing it through how much money was the data through it's a chart I found that was showing like some things about something. Let me check. The index value weekly losing price. The country in the Great Depression lost so much money, a couple $1 billion in total. But then the end of World War II, it raised to about $200 billion. It was raised faster and more quicker. When the economy was recovering on December 9th, 1941, the Japanese Naval Air Force attacked on Pearl Harbor. The U.S. that the war, bringing us the U.S. in the war, but the industrial capacity of the U.S. fully recovered after that. The real end of the Great Depression was not when World War II ended, but this picture, not even only second slide, this shows the invasion of Normandy, France, a couple battles until it reaches Germany in Operation Coast Life of American, British, and French forces, even Canadian. Some of those American forces must have been homeless people who lost their homes, money in the Great Depression who signed up for the army. Here's one of the pictures that show what happened.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about the pictures that you're showing instead of just showing us. You guys can talk about them.
The thing that ended the war was Japan. The atomic bomb pretty much killed like a couple hundred, maybe even 1,000 instantly, and then the rest died from radiation. And this one shows the Soviet invasion of Berlin, taking Berlin and defeating the Nazi Germany in the start.
And is this the stuff that ended the Great Depression, the war?
It ended the war, and which also came in the price of ending the Great Depression. The end of the war also marked the real ending of the Great Depression and also had great advancements in technology like the atomic bomb, which came after this all, the new age came to be the atomic age. The end.
Questions for these guys?
Kobe, how much did the bomb weigh?
The bomb weighed about a couple pounds probably near a ton probably. Scary.
Wait.
About how many miles would the bomb have affected when it blew up?
The bomb would have had affected about, it did hit a city, so it would have affected the entire city and probably a couple miles after that.
The entire mile.
It affected the entire city of Hiroshima and Nagasaki and probably went a bit further and killed some others outside of it.
Give these guys one last question.
Really?
How much did the bomb cost?
It probably cost probably a lot because I don't know the exact number, but it was
Alright.
built in that cost.
We researched Herbert Hoover and we're showing you a PowerPoint today by Adriana, Brianna, and Leanne.
When and how he died and was born. Died on October 20th, 1964. Born August 10th, 1874. How he died, colon cancer. Became an orphan at 9 years old. Family.
Jess, father, died of heart attack while suffering pneumonia. Huldah, the mother, she also died of pneumonia while suffering of typhoid fever. Mary, sister, born August 24, 1928, and she died on January 1985. Theodore, brother, born January 28, 1871, death February 4, 1955.
Kids in Life. Little Henry Jr. Hoover was the wife of President of the United States Herbert Hoover and served as the First Lady of the United States from 1929 to 1933. Alan Henry Hoover has three children, born July 17, 1907, died November 4, 1993, the youngest son. Herbert Charles Hoover has three children, born August 9, 1903, died July 9, 1969, oldest son.
What he did. After the United States entered the war in April 1917, President Woodrow Wilson appointed Hoover to head of U.S. Food Administration, which has created under the Labor Food Control Act in 1917 to ensure the nation's food needs during the war. When he was president, Herbert Hoover was the 31st president of the United States from 1929 to 1933, whose term was nobly marked by the stock market crash in 1929 and the beginning of the Great Depression. Hoover wins. Hooverville. Hooverville was a poor town built during the Great Depression by the homeless in the United States of America. They were named after Herbert Hoover, who was president of the United States during the onset of the Depression and was widely blamed for it. My country owes me nothing. It gives me, as it gives every boy and girl a chance. It gives me schooling, independence, and action. Opportunities for service and honor. Herbert Hoover.
Questions from our audience?
It seems that I thought Herbert Hoover served 2 terms, not 1.
I don't know, it just says one. Kaylee?
Did you guys not have enough room to write how my brother and sister died, or did you not find out how they died?
We didn't see anything about how they died, or what, we know when they died, but we don't know how.
Our fathers?
Hello, my name is Kobe, and my group research sports, and here's my group. I'm Jacob. Hi, I'm Caleb. And my poster is and we're doing posters, and my poster is gonna be on football. Football during the Great Depression. The change of football.
The rules of basketball and the design of football were changed to make the games more faster and to increase scores. In the 1920s, single events such as Baby Ruth 1895 to 1948 in baseball, Jack Demas 1895-1983 in boxing, and Bobby Jones 1902 to 1971 in golf were called the best in their sport. In the 1914 to 1981 in boxing, Bobby Jones in their sport. Baby Dixon 1911 to 1956 in track and golf, and Jesus Owens 1913 to 1980 in track and field. Football teams during the Great Depression. In 1929, the NFL had 12 teams. By the 1932, they were down to the 8 teams. In the 1930s, 3 teams moved. The NFL would not really stabilize until 1937, when the remaining 10 teams started to rebuild. The NFL grew a small middle American league to the big cities on the East Coast. The forgotten history of women's football. Little is known about this short-lived women's football craze. What remains of this craze are the photographs of the players from Los Angeles that appeared in 2 national magazines. The black and white photos showed the tough-looking women dressed in full football uniforms, including helmets, pants, and shoulder pads. Who were these women, and why did their football league disappear after only 1 season? There may be a different explanation for the league's division. Unemployment, it dropped to 48% a year and a half later before beginning another upward swing to 6.6%. At the end of E.C. Howard's 2 terms, John F. Kennedy, the jobless rate climbed to 7.1% in the first 4 months after Kennedy took office in 1961, but then began a steady decline. It's the fall of the stock market. It's no secret that in the years following the stock market crash in October 1929, this country's economy went into a downward spiral. Unemployment rates were at an astronomical high. Farming as well as industry suffered, and the effects were felt throughout the whole country and the world. People had little or no money to spend on necessaries like food and clothes, and one would think that newspaper articles from the 1932 said in Times sports sections, however, shows the exact opposite.
Code?
Yeah.
I'm getting really good at looking at the back of your head. You've been reading for almost 5 minutes. You haven't looked at your audience once.
And this right here is a little flyer I made for a game. And here's some players circling around it. And here's like a gun factory right there. And then I get a little thing right here with Clint.
Me and my partners were researching about baseball in the Great Depression. Aye. Information about the stock market crash. On October 29th, 1929, the day known as the Black Tuesday, the stock market crashed. The crash of the stock market marketed the beginning of the Great Depression. A severe economic depression whose effects last until around the late 1930s. The Great Depression affected a lot of black people and white people, players. The black players became strong-minded to embrace their personality and show black and white players are equal. Baseball was significant to state epic goal in the Great Depression. In the Great Depression, the baseball economic disorder shocked the baseball owners' total profits of baseball. Total profits of Major Baseball League. The Major Baseball League collapsed from $1,651,000 in 1929 to a loss of $1,335,000 in 1933. But the long-lasting effect of the Great Depression on the major baseball leagues was the realignment of the major and minor baseball leagues, physically and emotionally. Baseball players were beginning and being paid about $100 per game. People didn't watch baseball a lot, mostly NFL games. NFL players were getting all the money, leaving not a lot of major baseball league players. This is my book that I researched about hockey during the Great Depression. Right here is showing where the hockey team stats are. The top part here is for the American teams. And the bottom teams here are the Canadian teams. And this is showing what like BP means and WF and PTS means up here for the team stats. Well, round stage of franchise. It's worth nothing, however. However, that the NHL was also riding higher than ever in the 19th 1920s before it faced its various contradiction when the league lost 40% of its franchise in the period of 1931 to 1942. Quakers struggled. At first, the league weathered the economy storm with no significant navigational effects, but as the depression wave attended dropped and hockey during the Great Depression, the average NHL revenue dropped 1929 and 1933 dropped 31% after the 1928 stock market crash. Less people had money to spend on sports events. Watched the NHL soccer and these years less people bought tickets to games. The NHL lost millions of dollars in revenue for bankrupt teams. Pittsburgh Pirates for bankrupt teams. Pittsburgh Pirates, the Ohio Senators, Detroit Tigers, New York Americans were the four bankrupt teams. After the 1928 stock market crash, less people had money to spend on sporting events. Less people bought tickets to games. The NHL lost millions of dollars in revenue.
Back up there, guys. Questions for these gentlemen?
I like how you all did on sports during the Great Depression.
Other questions?
Did the athletes get paid during the Great Depression? Yes, but I didn't know that.
Owen, was any homeless?
Not sure. Gavin.
Did the baseball players have like regular
Yeah.
drinks that we have on today for baseball?
I forgot something. It's for baseball. Well, hockey lost 40% of its franchise. He's talking. Hockey lost 40% of its franchise. Baseball lost 0 of its franchise during the Great Depression.
So we did discrimination during the Great Depression. We did a bunch of different topics that led off of discrimination. Race during the Great Depression. During the Great Depression in 1929 to 1939, white people called for the blacks to be fired from any jobs. As long as there were whites out of work, racial violence again became more common in the South. How the Great Depression affected the farmers. During World War I, farmers had worked harder to produce record crops and livestock. When the prices fell, they tried to produce even more to pay their debts. Taxes, living expensive. In the early 1930s, the prices dropped so low that many farmers went bankrupt and lost their farms. discrimination. The Great Depression affected women and men in quite different ways. The economy of the period relied heavily on stereotypes, and the work most directly associated with males, especially manufacturing and heavy industries like steel production, faced the depth levels of layoffs during the Great Depression.
Segregation laws. Blacks lost their homes and their jobs, and in some cases their lives. Whites could physically beat them in their backs. They were also being hung, shot, burned at a stake, castrated, beaten with clubs, and dismembered.
Lynching. Lynching is to kill someone by hanging for an alleged offense with or without legal trial. A good example of a group would be the KKK.
Before you go on, can you tell us a little bit about the pictures and the images we're seeing?
The people in the background are the
People that were part of the Ku Klux Klan.
yeah, and like they dressed in white before
They dressed in white all the time.
So this is a picture of what it looks like before right before people start doing
Discrimination between African Americans. There was racism attitude that black men should not be hired while a white man was out of job. White Americans were out of job so they could have more time to pursue and prosecute an African American for something they might have not even done.
avoid where we got our information from. We got it from Shazzy.
You don't have to tell us about that. Give them a round of applause. Questions from the audience? Girls, stay up there because you're going to have questions from the audience now. Questions?
Haley?
Why were blacks separated from whites?
Because during the Great Depression, the blacks and the whites were considered different, and apparently the whites were not.
The whites could also go to the people who hired the black people, and then they could tell them that you had a black person, and they could fire them because they were without a job. Discrimination.
What if you guys were on discrimination during the Great Depression?
All right, give them a final round of applause.
We are doing orphans during the Great Depression.
In the Great Depression, 1930s and 1940s,
Lauren.
the Great Depression was 1930s and 1940s. The Great Depression was a third worldwide economic depression in the decade 10 years after World War II. The timing of the Great Depression across the nation varied across the nation, but in most countries started in the 1930s and lasted until the late 1930s or middle 1940s. It was the longest, deepest, and most widespread depression of the 20th century.
The stock market crash is believed to have caused the Great Depression. The stock market crash affected many families, and the many jobs put more kids in orphanages.
The Dust Bowl made many think they cannot take care of their children, so they gave them to the orphanage.
Most food the children got was some soup and bits of bread. When there was nothing else to eat, they would eat oatmeal.
Take the time to tell us about your pictures.
The children were entertaining themselves by playing with their hands and making up games and sport.
Siblings were separated because the person adopting could only afford one, or one would have already ran away.
There weren't a lot of beds, so kids had to either share a bed or sleep on the floor.
This is not orphan, but because they can't sleep or sleep. During the Great Depression, orphanages weren't big enough to fit all the children.
And that's a picture of all the children in front of us. People would sell their children, or their moms and dads would already have died, and their family could not support. And the families could not support their.
That is what they do.
Yeah.
Would people really sell their children?
Orphanages might not accept new babies because they might not have enough diapers or baby food for kids.
Every farmer, lawyer, butcher, and other professional who had sold their properties and grasped in the booming stock market of the 1920s lost everything they owned. Many owed money to the banks in addition to what they lost.
Orphans usually wear clothes that are donated by other people or sewn together by one of the nuns.
This is an orphan. If a child has no parents or no family, they are considered an orphan. This is not an orphan. If a child has a parent or family, they are not an orphan. Fun fact, orphanages are mostly called foster homes in America.
Nowadays. An orphan is someone who has lost both parents. Usually we think of sad little children when we think of orphans, but anyone whose parents have both died is an orphan. A home for orphans is no subtitle for a house with loving parents, even if they're adopted. orphan is a kid with a family, or at least someone to take care of you when that you're related to. Anyone would be one.
Questions, guys? Stay up there, ladies.
Lily, can you turn your chair around? It's facing the wrong way to make it spectator.
How long does it take you to put together a slideshow? Forever. Not literally forever, but more like 11 years. No. Maybe like a month or so. As long as we like to do this. Any other questions or comments?
2.
This is the beginning of my slideshow. It's public training.
Tell us about the pictures as well.
So, this is a bunch of hobos trying to get to where they need to go to get to their job. So, yeah.
Speak into the microphone.
Okay. This is called the hobo code. It's where they put marks so other hobos, you know, where like bad, like guy with a gun, rich people, stuff like that, so they can get money. So they know before they do something stupid. Okay. And yeah, that's it. Well, this is a Hooverville. It's where the hobos build their houses out of garbage, like scrap pieces of wood and cardboard and newspaper and yeah. And it was where they lived. So yeah. And the Hoovervilles were called Hoovervilles because the president was Hoover and he was blamed for it, for the Depression. And he was born August 10th, 1874 and died October 20th, 1964. And this is his president terms or whatever. And yeah. Wait. For you, so I don't have to punch. Okay.
Questions and comments now. Please stay up there, Talon.
I pick Michael. Let's think about pressure. Well, you had your hand up a little bit. So. Did all hobos actually use the hobo code? Not all, because some of them didn't know about it, but most of them. Okay, who else? Evan.
What did the hobos use to write the hobo code? Did they write it on stone walls? Did they put it on wood?
Used anything they could find. Like, they'd take a rock and, like, use it or whatever. Lily.
Why did the hobos choose to live in Hooverville?
Well, because they couldn't find a job, so they just gave up. And, yeah. Keegan.
When they were jumping trains, how did they know where the train was going?
It just knew, I guess. I didn't think of that part. Okay. Who else? I'm only gonna do 2 more. Kaylee.
I know that the Polos were jumping trains, but they were jumping trains because they couldn't find a job. I mean, I'm pretty sure that there was a job or 2 around their area.
Most of the jobs were cooking. Taken. Yeah. Okay, one last one. Gavin.
Was there a code for like safe place to hop a train?
Yeah, there are some codes like that. There are ones like bad animals, food, water, stuff like that.
Okay. Please give Talon a final round of applause.
Hello, us 4 gentlemen would like to share a project with you. We did a project on orphanages. Orphans, parents, and guardians. Orphans should be placed under the care of public guardians. Men should have a fair fear of the loneliness of orphans and of the souls of their pursuit. A man should love the unfortunate orphans and he is guardian as if he were his own child. He should be as careful and as diligent in the management of the orphan's property as of his own or event, even more careful still. Joe.
Why are we seeing the backs of your heads? Maynard, the entire time that you spoke, all I saw was the back of your head.
Loss of jobs and such. Loss of work and is forced many parents to place their children in orphanages because they could not afford to care for them. A large number of children were sent to orphanages during the Great Depression as a result of this kind of financial hardship. Sizes of rooms and the room sizes. Orphanages were ranged in sizes. Most were big enough to fit all the children. Most times there weren't a lot of beds, so they had either a share or sleep on the floor. There weren't many rooms, and they had 10 places to sleep.
Lives in foster care. In December 1933, 102,000 departed.
Oh no!
Dependent and negative children in the USA were in foster homes, and a record number going off or anything. More than 440,000 according to Marshall V. Jones. Orphanages threw every resource they had into the breach. Had it not been for the orphanages, there might have been twice as many homeless children on the streets. There were systems
of foster homes. Findings presented at the 1909 conference also led to significant restructuring of orphanages. Organizations that previously functioned independently joined under a single umbrella. For example, the Catholic Children's Journal, created in 1919, attempted to centralize child welfare efforts. In addition, the increasing process socialization of the social work coupled with the increases regulation of child care interest institutions in support of the foster care system contributed to the decline of the orphanage. Health transportation the age developed the program that placed homeless children into homes throughout the country. The children were transported to their new home on trains, which were labeled children trains. Number of homeless children in New York City. These many number of kids want to be orphans, were without homes and left homeless on the street, hungry and without water.
Questions from the audience, please stay up there.
How much kids were orphans? I don't know. We wrote that, but like 114,000. Carissa. No, because we got yelled at.
And also, did you guys just print the words out? Saw something and print it out?
No? I checked over, they can't read it. Yeah.
It's typed it.
So, you know who formed that, I think it was a Catholic Children's Workout or something, do you know who formed that?
No. When you train the children, do the parents have to pay for the children to go in, or?
No, they just drop because all of them make flash because they don't have afford to take care of them. Already.
How many people died in the streets?
Like 100,000 if I got orphans. They can't take care of them. Hi. Who do you like say our names? Like,
Hi guys, we researched hobos and we're doing a skit about them.
I can't believe it.
What's wrong?
I just got fired from my job.
Why?
Supposedly there's not enough money for everybody to get a paycheck, which is probably not true, but who knows. What am I gonna tell my wife and kids?
Tell them the truth. They don't understand. Besides, they probably can't give you a paycheck anyway.
Why?
You didn't hear? The stock market crashed.
Wow, you know how bad that'll affect the economy?
Yeah, I wonder what everyone's gonna do while they're losing their jobs.
Let's go.
Spare some change?
Sure.
Want spare some change, dude? Please? Come on.
Here. Wow, ever since the stock market crashed, there's been so many more hobos.
Yeah.
I wonder if I could.
I'm trying to hop this train. You want to do it with me?
I don't know, it's going pretty fast.
Hey, no hopping trains, dude. Come on.
Oh no, the option is coming. Jump!
No, don't do it.
You'll never catch me.
No.
I jump over here.
I don't want to hop this train. I'm good. I'm a good person. I don't want to do something like that.
No, I don't believe you. You're looking at that thing funny, and I know it.
Wow, that was close.
Hey, stranger.
Who are you and why are you here?
Not the first one here. Hey, meet my friend.
No, please.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, did you read about the stock market crash? That's why we're all here, dude.
Yeah, the job that I used to work for fired me because there wasn't enough money to give everybody. Okay.
That's why my boss told me. That's why my boss told me. But I thought it was a lie. But I guess it was true.
Yeah, I guess this is the Great Depression.
This is the Great Depression.
Bruce, step there.
Why are you giving me the mic?
Okay, audience, questions?
Mike,
How long did it take for you to write, a long
like
time.
a long time. Owen.
How was it like to be a hobo?
Awesome. You did.
I like that you had one shoe that came from the dumpster, and then one shoe that came from the Foot Locker.
Gavin, I want to go back to one of the answers that you just said. He asked how was it like to be a hobo, and you said it was awesome. Is that true? Is that the truth of the matter? Or do you want to rethink that answer?
I'm pretty sure it would have been, like, I have no idea.
Maybe you need to turn to your group members and rethink. Was it awesome to be a hobo?
It was not awesome to be a hobo because you would have had financial struggles, you would have had physical struggles. Even if you were in like very extreme situations, you would probably have had mental struggles such as like stress, stuff like that.
What you said.
Alright, couple other questions?
Caleb.
Why did the other hobos look you out when they were going onto the train?
Because the cops were there. The cops were there. Yeah, cops. Well, the train already passed.
Kaylee.
When Gideon hopped in the jet skin, I thought that he got ran over by the train.
Sounds fascinating.
How was this fun? Just saying.
I'm playing the orphanage owner and an orphan. I am playing the narrator and an orphan. I'm just playing an orphan. Cat Notion goes to the shoulders. I'll be back in 20 or 30 minutes. How large is an orphanage? Orphanages were arranged by sizes. Most are big enough to fit all the children. Most times there aren't a lot of beds, so they even have a stair bed or sleep on the floor. There are many rooms and places to sleep. Just run away. I do those things. I don't know, guys. What if she comes back? Come on, let's try this stuff. Okay. Orphanages could be fancy but different. Sometimes children left their homes either they do not want to burn with their families or parents are boring or they're boring or slow living. And they just want an adventure. Are you sure this is a good idea? Unless you want to stay here before I suggest you come along. Don't leave me, but come on. Fine. They ran away, never to be seen again. Thank you.
Okay. Take some questions from the audience.
Bianca. There's actually three of us. They ran away into a forest, and this is what happened to them. Well, it's not for us. It's to be continued. It's to be continued. No one will know what happened to them. They died in the woods. Yes.
How did the orphanage pay for the food and get them for enough?
Miss C said that, I'll play that one, said that she was going to, like, the market, they were pretty sure they were closed by then, so she would just leave, like, looking for, like, a job, and then leave for, like, 3 hours.
Any last questions?
Well,
Why do these orphans hate chores so much? Just to run away.
that's probably because they were giving a lot of chores, probably, because they were probably the caretaker was too lazy to do any chores, so they forced the kids to do them, but we're not sure. Yeah,
Did the caretaker actually leave the orphans at the orphanage?
Yes. She left to find them. Yes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, give everybody a round.